So what is eFarm? We started eFarm to basically start assisting farmers in reaching markets because we thought that was a key segment which was missing or which was a nice niche for us to look at. We also thought that a lot of the challenges were actually in distribution between matching the demand and supply and reducing the losses in transit, which already even today is almost 40 to 50%, which means almost half of what the farmer is producing does not reach the end consumer and ends up in wastage dumps and garbage yards and all that, which itself is a huge loss in revenue. And also, coming from an IT background and a business background, we realized that need for technology was very, very high in this segment because this is one industry which has not used computers at all. Not that farmers need to know computers, but the very essence of data and using information and analytical information to start making decisions. Most of the decisions in agri industry are very ad hoc and very, very crude kind of judgments. And we feel that use of data itself would bring down a lot of the issues. So these were some fundamental core areas which we wanted to concentrate on. So eFarm does not have any farms. We do not grow anything. So I know that the name farm might first bring some thoughts about we as farmers, but no, we assist farmers in doing everything else other than farming. So that is in brief what we do. So how we started off is initially we did some test pilots right around where we lived. We procured some vegetables and fruits from farmers right around the Chennai belt area, and we brought it to the Chennai beach. We have a beach which is very close to our place, and which is very interesting because a lot of people come for morning walks in Chennai, and that way they were able to get fresh vegetables which we sold right off of the boot of a car, and that way we were able to get a first feel of what exactly was the market, what do buyers want, and what is the quality and pricing which they were expecting. Then we scaled up a little bit, put a truck on a mobile basis, so we went around selling the vegetables very similar to how a sabjiwala or a small pushcart vendor sells, because we understood that that was one segment which actually understood the Indian consumer very, very well, because they were always right in front of the consumer. So which was one thing which maybe the modern retailers did not understand. Just by putting an air conditioned store in a big mall, people are not going to come, because this is a produce which has to be very, very close to the consumer. Because typically vegetables or say even things like coriander or tomato or something, a housewife would like to purchase very quickly, very early in the morning, which typically most of the stores are not open. So we first wanted to get a feel for that, and so the truck used to move around and different timings, like for example during the school closing time we were right next to a school, or evening bus stand where people coming back from their offices, they used to stop and buy some stuff. So we kind of got a gauge for what exactly people buy and what times and things like that. And of course, a lot of people in the restaurant industry saw us doing this, and then we got our first break. Some of the biggest restaurant chains in Chennai started giving us orders, saying that was the first time I realized that it's no longer just a fun activity. This is a serious business opportunity, and we started supplying to some of the biggest restaurant chains. And then slowly, word of mouth, it spread. We also supplied to the Indian Army. We were given some space inside the cantonment, and it was a very interesting project. We called it Kisan to Jawan, and we ran a small store for them. And we also supplied to a lot of the malls which had food courts, because a lot of them had continental cuisines, and very, very interesting, challenging things came up. So we started understanding that the pains of procurement is also very, very high, because a lot of the new buyer segments, like new food concepts and all, the chefs were very active, and they wanted to try out new recipes and new things, and they were stuck because most of the people in the mandi did not understand what they were trying to do, the quality they were trying to expect. So that way, when professionals like us entered into the segment, they were very, very encouraging, and they were very open about sharing a lot of ideas and what they expected. And also this directly went to the farmers, and so that way, like, we were not like operating like a typical commission agent. We actually were operating like a marketing team for the farmers. So that way the need for the industry, we were able to capture that very clearly and translate it to a farmer so that they could produce exactly for the need for the end consumer. This is how we gradually scaled up. And interestingly, we got funding from Mumbai Angels, which was a conventional seed stage angel investor. And this is also quite significant because we no longer saw this as a social investment or anything philanthropic. Because we are trying to make agri-industry self-reliant and self-sufficient and not dependent on doles or grants or anything, because we feel that it has potential to be financially sustainable and also realize value. And that way, by being answerable to conventional investors and putting ourselves as a private limited company and the rigors of the typical aspects of raising capital and all that, we kind of wanted to demonstrate that yes, there is some logic and sense in actually seeing this as value. So that is basically what eFarm started off as.